Ladies and gentlemen, I want you to listen to me carefully. Something is about to happen in your heart if you will only let it. I'm not here to entertain you. I'm not here to impress you with words. I'm here to tell you something that has been burning in my spirit all day, all night, all week. There is a presence, a holy, sweet, gentle presence that is here in this place, and that presence wants to talk to you. Not tomorrow, today. Oh yes, someone in this room has cried out for answers. Someone watching this has been walking through shadows, and you've wondered, can I hear from heaven again? Can I feel that nearness again? I want you to stay right where you are. Don't move, don't turn away, because what you're about to hear could change your life forever. You see, for too long we've thought that the divine only speaks to the saints, the pure, the holy ones. But I'm here to tell you it's the hungry he comes for. It's the weary. It's the searching heart. It's the ones sitting alone, whispering in the dark. Is anybody there? Oh yes, he is. And more than that, he's been waiting for you to answer back. There is a voice that doesn't shout. It doesn't force. It doesn't demand. It woos. It waits. It whispers your name. In the middle of the mess. And some of you, you've been running. You've been filling the silence with noise. But deep down, you miss that sweetness. That stillness. He wants you to know he's never stopped speaking, but now you must start listening. I've stood in meetings where no one was touching anyone, no hands laid, no music playing, and yet people crumble to the floor under the weight of glory. Why? Because a whisper came to them. They didn't hear it with their ears. Oh no. It was deeper. It came to the place words can't reach. It came to the soul. And when that happens, darling, you're never the same again. You see, the greatest miracles don't start with shouting. They start in silence. When you finally say, "Speak, I'm listening." There is something so deeply sacred about realizing that the divine presence is not something distant. Not something locked behind a stained glass of a cathedral or reserved for the chosen few in flowing robes. No, it is personal. It is near. It's closer than the air you breathe. I wish I could make you feel what I feel in this moment. But this, oh this, you must experience for yourself. Because until you know, truly know, that this presence longs for you, desires you, seeks after you, then everything else will feel like ritual. Like religion. But once you know deep in your spirit that the holy is calling your name, not the crowd, not the masses, you, that's the moment everything changes. It doesn't matter where you've been. It doesn't matter what you've done. It doesn't matter if you've been running for years or if you've just now walked into this moment with the weight of 1,000 regrets. The presence I speak of doesn't come because you're worthy. It comes because he is love. Not love in concept, love in action. Love that knocks gently on the door of your heart, even when you've slammed it shut 100 times before. This isn't about emotion, though you might feel something. It isn't about performance, though your life might be transformed. This is about communion, about that sacred mystery where heaven leans in toward earth and the infinite makes room for the individual. Have you ever sat in a room full of people and still felt alone? Have you ever heard sermon after sermon and left just as empty as you came in? Oh, I know that feeling. So many do. But what I'm telling you now, what I've lived, what I've breathed, what has wrecked me in the most beautiful way, is that the divine doesn't want to be observed. It wants to be known. It doesn't want applause. It wants intimacy. Do you hear me? It wants to talk to you, not the preacher, not the worship leader, not the ones who seem to have it all together. You, sitting there with questions, with fears, with wounds that haven't fully healed. That presence, sweet and holy, wants to be personal with you. Not just for a moment, not just for a Sunday, but every day, every hour, in the quiet, in the chaos, when no one else sees you, he does. And he still says, come. It's not a mystical fog, it's not a performance on a stage. It is the tender brush of something real that meets you in the most unexpected ways. While you're doing the dishes, driving to work, lying awake at 2 a.m. with a heart that feels like it's breaking, and suddenly a stillness comes. A thought that isn't yours, a peace that can't be explained, and you just know he's here. How many times have you questioned if you're good enough? How many times have you believed the lie that you had to earn access to something so sacred? Oh, darling, listen to me. It's not about being good enough. It's about being open, being willing, being honest. That's all. Just one whisper from your heart. I'm listening, and heaven responds. I've walked into rooms where no one spoke a word, but you could feel the weight of glory. You could feel the pull of something greater. You could feel the invitation. And you know what I've discovered? That weight, that pull, that whisper, it doesn't come to fill arenas. It comes to fill hearts. What I'm talking about is not fiction. It's not fantasy. It's not reserved for the few. It is personal relationship. It is communion. It is the holy intersecting with the human, and once it happens, you will never again be satisfied with mere religion. You will never again be satisfied with just hearing about him. You'll want to know, and he wants to be known. He's not hiding. He's not playing games. He's reaching. Even now, even as you hear these words, there's a stirring inside you, a longing that says, could this really be for me? Yes, yes. You don't have to have the answers. You don't have to fix yourself. You don't have to pretend. Just open the door. Just be willing to hear. That's it. Because this presence, this beautiful, precious, personal presence, has always been talking. But today he's talking to you, and he's saying, I am here, I see you, I know you, and I want to walk with you. Not because of who you are, but because of who he is. So much noise. We live in a world full of sound, loud, constant, demanding. Voices on the television, the radio, social media, the opinions of others, the fears within us. Voices that speak doubt, voices that shout failure, voices that tell you to give up. And in all that clamor, all that chaos, we begin to believe we are alone, that heaven is silent. But listen to me. It is not silent. There is a voice not like the rest, a voice that doesn't compete with the world's shouting, but rises above it. Not in volume, but in purity. Not in volume, but in truth. It doesn't push itself into your ears. It waits to be received by your heart. Oh, how few ever hear it. Not because it isn't speaking, but because we've forgotten how to listen. This voice, this holy voice, it doesn't condemn. It doesn't accuse. It doesn't wear you down. No, it lifts you. It draws you. It quiets every storm inside your soul. And when it comes, when it truly comes, you will wonder how you ever lived without it. But that voice will not shout over the world. It waits until you make space for it. Some of you, you've been desperate for answers. You've begged for direction. You've wept in silence when no one was looking. You've said, God, speak to me. But then you fill your ears and your mind with everything else. You fill the silence with distractions, with noise, with busyness. and you wonder why you haven't heard that voice, divine, gentle, unmistakable. It waits. It waits for the moment you put everything else down, for the moment you pull away from the chatter and the rush and the opinions of the world, and simply say, I'm ready. I want to hear you now. Oh, how that voice loves to speak when the heart is still. It will speak in ways you never expected. It may come as a whisper in the dark when you're lying in bed with tears on your pillow. It may come as a sudden thought that brings peace while you're folding laundry or walking alone. It may come in the silence between songs and the pause between breaths. And when it comes, you will know, not in your mind but in your spirit. You'll feel that warmth, that clarity, that unmistakable knowing, this is not me. This is something deeper. This is something holy. That voice has been calling you for a long time, long before you sat here, long before this moment. It has called to you in childhood and heartbreak, in quiet moments when no one else was watching. It was there when you thought no one cared. It was there when you made mistakes and thought you'd ruined it all. That voice never gave up on you, but you must choose to hear it. You must learn to silence the other voices, the voices that say you're not enough, the voices that say you've missed your chance, the voices that make you feel small, unworthy, invisible. Lie, because the voice of truth does not condemn. It invites. It affirms. It speaks destiny over your life. It reminds you who you are. Not in the eyes of the world, but in the eyes of eternity. Can I tell you something I've learned? When you learn to hear that voice, really hear it, you'll never again be shaken by the voices of the world, the criticism, the confusion, the chaos. It won't have the same power over you because something greater has spoken. Something eternal has spoken. And when heaven speaks, everything else falls silent. But my dear, it takes intention. It takes stillness. It takes surrender. You cannot rush it. You cannot demand it. You must make room for it. And oh, how worth it is. I've been in moments, sacred, unexplainable moments, where all the noise of the world disappeared, and only that voice remained. And in those moments, I would have given up everything, just to stay in that place. Because nothing else matters when you've heard the sound of perfect love speaking your name. That voice is calling even now, not with anger, not with pressure, but with longing. It's saying, come away, let me speak to your heart. Let me tell you who you are. Let me remind you of the purpose, the hope, the life I placed in you from the beginning. Will you let it speak, or will the noise keep winning? I pray you will make space. I pray you will find the quiet. I pray you will tune your heart to that frequency, not of this world, but of heaven. Because that voice, that holy, sacred voice, it's the one you've been waiting for your whole life. And it's been waiting for you. There is a sacred truth I must share with you. One that could change the way you see everything. He chooses you. Yes, you, not the one with the perfect church attendance, not the one with all the answers, not the one who never doubted or feared or failed. He chooses you with the questions, with the past, with the pain. He sees you right now in your weakness and still says, that one is mine. We spend so much of our lives trying to be worthy of love, don't we? Trying to be enough, trying to be good enough, holy enough, strong enough. But what if I told you You never had to strive for it, because long before you tried to prove yourself, you were already chosen. Before you said yes, he had already whispered yours was the name he wanted to call. Before you even thought of turning to him, he had already been watching, waiting, loving you without condition. Some of you carry so much shame. You've walked through things that left you bruised, perhaps even bitter. You look at yourself and think, surely he's looking for someone better than me. But oh, how wrong that is. He's not searching for the perfect. He's searching for the willing, the open, the broken, who will say, here I am, even if I don't feel like enough. And he takes that kind of surrender, that kind of honesty, and he wraps it in mercy. He doesn't scold you. He doesn't push you away. He draws near. You don't have to dress it up for him. You don't have to perform. You don't have to impress him with big prayers or long fasting. He's not swayed by titles or talents. He looks at the heart. He looks for hunger. Because when the heart is truly hungry, even the smallest whisper from heaven becomes a feast. He chooses you, not when you have it all together, but when you're still unsure. He chooses you when you're still trembling, when you're still asking, can he really love someone like me? Yes, my dear, he can. And he does. I have stood in rooms where the most unexpected people were flooded with glory, not because they earned it, but because they said yes. People who had failed miserably, people with addictions, broken relationships, deep regrets. But in one moment of surrender, they became vessels of the holy. Why? Because the divine doesn't wait for you to become someone else. He chooses you as you are and transforms you into who you were always meant to be. It's a story from the beginning, isn't it? He called Moses when he was insecure and afraid. He called David when he was just a shepherd boy. He chose Mary, a young, quiet girl, to carry the Savior of the world. He chose fishermen, tax collectors, the forgotten, the rejected. So why do you think he wouldn't choose you? Oh, how the enemy loves to whisper lies. He says you've messed up too many times, that you're too late, that you missed your moment. But the voice of truth says something entirely different. He says, I know you, I made you. I see every scar, and I still call you mine. He chooses you not out of pity, but out of love. Not reluctantly, but eagerly, not as a last resort, but as his first desire. And if you would only believe it, truly believe it, your entire life could change. You'd stop striving. You'd stop comparing. You'd stop waiting for some perfect version of yourself to show up. You'd step into the calling that's already resting on your life. And oh, the places he would take you, the things he would speak through you, the lives that would be touched, because you finally said yes. The divine call is personal. It is holy, and it is waiting for your answer. He doesn't need you to be extraordinary. He just needs you to be available. Because in the hands of God, the ordinary becomes sacred. Your wounds become testimony. Your past becomes redemption. Your brokenness becomes beauty. He doesn't choose the one who's qualified. He qualifies the one he chooses. And he is choosing you. Right here, right now, not tomorrow, not when you get it all right, but today. So lift your eye, raise your head, stand in the truth of it. You are not forgotten. You are not overlooked. You are not disqualified. You are chosen. We've made it all too complicated. We've turned divine communion into performance, sacred moments into checklists, and the voice of God into something that only the spiritual elite can hear. But I'm here to tell you something that might undo everything you've thought you knew. It was never meant to be a ritual. It was always meant to be a relationship. The presence I speak of, it's not bound by stained glass windows. It doesn't wait behind the doors of a sanctuary. It isn't triggered by long prayers or perfect words. It isn't reserved for the pulpit, no. It walks into kitchens. It enters hospital rooms. It sits quietly in cars while you cry at red lights. It lingers in the quiet of the early morning when no one else is awake but your soul cannot sleep. This isn't about tradition. This isn't about doing things a certain way to gain approval. This is about connection. This is about a living, breathing relationship with the one who longs to walk with you, not on special occasions, but every single day. Ritual demands performance, but relationship just asks for presence. And he doesn't want your performance. He doesn't want you to pretend. He just wants you. I've seen people try to earn what has already been freely given, trying to pray loud enough, trying to act holy enough, trying to fast long enough, and still feeling empty, still feeling far. Because you can go through all the motions, sing all the songs, attend every service, and still miss the heart of it. He doesn't want the motions, he wants your heart. This isn't about reciting the right words. This is about whispering, I'm here, and feeling heaven respond. He wants to talk with you the way a friend speaks to a friend, not just when you're on your knees, but when you're walking through the grocery store, when you're folding the laundry, when you're laughing with your children, when you're pacing the floor late at night wondering how things will ever work out. He doesn't come in response to ritual. He comes in response to relationship. He comes where he's invited. He comes where hearts are open. He comes when the soul says, I want more than rules. I want you. You don't need the right words. You don't need to sound like anyone else. You don't need to pretend to be more spiritual than you feel. If all you can say is, help me, he hears it. If all you can whisper is, I miss you, he draws near. I remember one woman who came to me with tears in her eyes, her voice trembling, saying, I've done everything they told me to do, read the books, fasted, prayed the prayers, and still I feel nothing. I feel distant. I feel like he's not hearing me. And I looked at her and said softly, have you just talked to him? She looked at me puzzled. And Nata said again, just talk, no formula, no pressure, just told him how you feel. She hadn't, because somewhere along the way we taught people that God is too holy for conversation, too vast for communion, that you must approach him like a subject before a king. And yes, he is holy. Yes, he is mighty. But he is also the one who walked in the garden in the cool of the day just to be with Adam, just to talk. That hasn't changed. He still walks toward those who long for him. He still desires your voice, your honesty, your openness. Don't let anyone convince you that he only moves through ritual. Don't let religion become a barrier to relationship. You may not feel goosebumps every time. You may not hear a booming voice from the sky. But when you sit in stillness and say, speak to me, when you open your heart even slightly, when you choose to make space for him, he will come because he loves to be with you. Not the version of you that's polished and practiced, the real you, the unsure you, the hurting you, the one still figuring things out. That's the one he wants. This is not a transaction. This is not a trade of prayer for blessing. This is not religion. This is love. This is relationship. And oh, how it will transform you when you begin to live from that place. Suddenly, he's not someone you visit once a week. He's someone you walk with, cry with, laugh with, listen to, trust, love. And suddenly it's no longer about checking the boxes. It's about not being able to live without him. This is what you were made for. Not rules, not routines. And it's waiting for you. Right now, all you have to do is say yes. We've believed a lie far too long. That the sacred only happens within walls. That the divine voice is reserved for pews and pulpits, for stained glass and Sunday mornings. But the truth, oh, the beautiful truth, is that you don't have to be in a church to hear him. He is not confined to buildings built by men. He is not limited to robes or altars or microphones. He does not wait behind locked sanctuary doors for you to come find him. No, he comes to find you right where you are. Yes, even there. Even in your living room while dishes sit in the sink and children are running through the house. Even in the hospital waiting room where fear hangs thick in the air. Even in the grocery aisle where you're doing your best to keep it all together. Even in the quiet, aching stillness of your bedroom at 2 a.m. when the weight of life feels like too much. He is not far. He is not distant. He is present. And oh, how he longs to speak to you, not through performance, not through perfection, not through ritual, but through presence. He doesn't wait for you to enter a church to speak. He waits for you to enter a moment of surrender. I've heard his voice when I least expected it, in the most ordinary places, once in a hallway just walking and thinking of nothing in particular, and suddenly there he was, so near, so undeniable it took my breath away. Another time in the middle of a storm, not the kind that tears at rooftops, but the kind that tears at your soul. And in the center of it, a whisper, not from a stage but from within, a whisper that stilled the winds inside me. Because that's what he does. He shows up where hearts are open, not where pews are filled. You may be sitting in a coffee shop right now, driving your car, or folding laundry with tears in your eyes, wondering if heaven has forgotten you. But he sees you. He knows. He hears the questions you don't dare say out loud. And he's nearer than your next breath. You see, he doesn't wait for you to be in the right place. He becomes the right place. He becomes the sanctuary in your storm, the holy ground in your kitchen, the sacred moment in your silence. Because the presence you're seeking isn't tied to geography. It's tied to hunger. Do you know what draws him? A heart that says, I need you. That's all. Just those words. Not a choir. Not a sermon. Not a holy building. Just you, whispering honestly from wherever you are. He met Moses at a bush in the wilderness. He spoke to Elijah in a cave. He called Samuel in the night while he was lying down. He found Zacchaeus in a tree, and the woman at the well, far from any temple. He called to Paul on a dusty road, again and again. He proved this one thing. The sacred does not wait inside a building. It meets you wherever your soul opens. So why do we wait for Sunday? Why do we wait for someone else to give us permission to enter into the holy? You have permission now, because his voice isn't just for preachers. His presence isn't just for platforms. His whisper isn't just for cathedrals. It's for the broken, the weary, the longing, the ordinary. It's for the one on the edge of giving up, for the one sitting in a quiet house, wondering if God still speaks. And I tell you now, he does. He's speaking even now, maybe not with lightning, maybe not with thunder, but with a quiet invitation. Come away with me. Talk with me. Let me be with you here. You don't need a church building. You need a willing heart. You don't need a perfect prayer. You need an open spirit. You don't need an audience. Just an honest moment. And I believe, no, I know, that if you'll give him that moment, if you'll stop and whisper, I want to hear you, something sacred will begin to stir in the very place you are. He is not limited, not by space, not by time, not by your mistakes, not by your location. The holy comes to homes. The divine meets the desperate. The sacred speaks to the silent places. So right now, wherever you are, I dare you to believe. Believe that he can speak to you there, in your car, in your loneliness, in your anxiety, in your everyday routine. And when he does, you'll know it. Because nothing else in the world sounds like his voice. Nothing else soothes your soul and ignites your spirit all at once. You don't have to be in a church to hear him. You just have to be willing. He speaks. Oh, how he speaks. But the most beautiful part is not just that he speaks. It's how he speaks. Not in riddles, not in far-off echoes, not in language reserved for theologians and scholars, but in a voice that your soul knows, in a way that your heart can understand. We've complicated the voice of God. We've made it seem mystical, far, foreign, as if it only comes through booming declarations or deep, prophetic utterances. But listen to me, child of God. He knows how to reach you. He knows your mind. He knows your heart. He knows what you need to hear and how you need to hear it. He knows your language, and he speaks it with the gentleness of a loving father and the nearness of a faithful friend. To some it might be a whisper in the stillness of the night, to others a sudden thought that cuts through the noise like a beam of light. Sometimes it comes through a scripture you've read 100 times, but suddenly burns on the page. Sometimes it's a line in a song that pierces your soul like an arrow. Or a child's laughter that softens your heart when you didn't think it could feel again. Yes, he's that creative. He's that personal. Because he doesn't want to confuse you. He wants to commune with you. He knows your doubts, your fears, the way your mind races, the way your heart breaks. And he speaks to it all. Not to impress you, but to comfort you. Not to instruct from afar, but to walk close beside you. You've heard him before, even if you didn't know it. That moment when you were about to give up, and a quiet strength rose up inside you. That wasn't just hope. That was him. That nudge to forgive, that tug to make things right, that sudden peace when nothing around you changed. Yes, that was him too. We often say, I don't know if I've heard him, but what we really mean is, I didn't know it was him. Because he doesn't always sound how we expect. He sounds like truth, like love, like clarity in confusion, like calm in the storm. He doesn't speak to shame you or condemn you or make you feel small. His voice lifts, his voice heals. His voice always leads to more of him. I remember a woman once told me, I'm afraid to hear from God. What if I misunderstand? What if I make a mistake? And I told her, do you think he would speak in a way you can't receive? Do you think he wants to confuse his child? No, no, no. He delights in revealing himself. He doesn't play hide and seek with his voice. He's not testing you. He's teaching you. And oh, how patient he is in doing so. If you would simply quiet your heart, not your surroundings, not your entire life, but just your heart for a moment, you'd realize he's been speaking all along. Easy the thought you can't shake that lines up with his truth. He's the peace that settles when you surrender. He's the wisdom that doesn't come from your own reasoning. And the more you listen, the more you recognize him. It's like a child learning their mother's voice. At first it's sound, then it becomes comfort, then it becomes familiar. And one day, even in a crowd, the child hears that voice and turns immediately because they know it by heart. That's how it is with him. And you're not too new, too broken, or too far behind to learn. If you'll ask, Lord, teach me to know your voice, he will. Not with judgment, not with frustration, but with joy. He wants you to hear him more than you want to hear. Because he created you for communion, not confusion. He speaks in a voice you can understand, not because you are wise, but because he is kind. He will speak in the language of your life, in the rhythm of your heart. He will come through nature, through memory, through others, through silence. And yes, sometimes through dreams, visions, and words. But always, always in a way that draws you closer, not farther. You don't have to strain. You just have to trust. You don't need a special gift. You just need a willing heart. So stop saying, I can't hear him. Start saying, I am learning to listen. Because he's speaking now, right now. And his voice is not far, not lofty, not hidden. It is near, it is present, it is for you. And it sounds like love. It only takes one moment, one word, one whisper, one breath from heaven to turn the tide. I've seen it too many times to count. When the heart was heavy, the path uncertain, the soul on the edge of despair, and then suddenly, like the quiet lifting of a morning fog, something shifts, not a shout, not a spectacle, just a whisper, and everything changes. You see, the power is not in the volume, it's not in thunder or lightning, it's in the source. A whisper from him can do what 1,000 sermons never could. One moment of divine interruption, soft, unannounced, unexplainable, can heal what years of striving have left untouched. You may be thinking right now, I need something big to happen. I need a breakthrough, a sign, a miracle. But I want to tell you this in love. Sometimes the most miraculous thing is not the mountain moving. It's the quiet voice that says, keep walking. Because when he whispers, it's not just sound, it's life. It carries peace when there should be panic. It brings clarity when confusion has ruled your mind. It brings light in the pitch black of uncertainty. Just one whisper, and the storm inside stills, even if the storm outside rages on. Have you ever had a moment like that? When all hope seemed lost, and suddenly, without explanation, a calm washed over you? That wasn't coincidence. That wasn't your strength, that was him, speaking in the most gentle way, reaching deeper than your ears, straight to your spirit. One whisper from him has the power to restore what's been broken, to resurrect what's been declared dead, to remind you of who you really are. And sometimes it's not even what he says, it's just that he speaks, that he draws near. that he interrupts your despair with his nearness. Don't miss the whisper, waiting in your ordinary day. You don't need a stage. You don't need a preacher. You don't need an audience. You just need a moment of awareness, a stillness, a yes. Because when he whispers, it comes with weight. And not the weight that crushes, but the kind that anchors you in the storm. The kind that makes you steady when nothing else is. It might be a whisper that tells you you're not alone. And suddenly, the loneliness loses its grip. It might be a whisper that says, I've never left you. And suddenly, every abandonment you've ever felt starts to melt away. It might be as simple as, trust me. And in those 2 words, your soul finds the strength to take one more step. That's the power of a whisper. The enemy is loud, the world is noisy, chaos screams. But the whisper of God, it silences every lie, every fear, every doubt, because his voice carries truth. And truth doesn't need volume to have authority. Do you know what makes a whisper powerful? You have to be close to hear it. And in fact, the beauty of it. When he whispers, it means he's already near. He's not shouting from a distance. He's not calling out from somewhere you can't reach. He's right there, closer than you think, closer than your breath. And when he speaks in a whisper, it's not to make you strain to hear. It's to invite you into intimacy. He wants you near. He wants you still. He wants you aware. You may be in the middle of a battle right now, searching for answers, pleading for breakthrough, and you might be waiting for something loud. But don't ignore the whisper. Don't overlook the quiet tug in your spirit, that small prompting, that gentle nudge, that moment that brings tears to your eyes for no reason you can explain. That could be the whisper you've been waiting for. Because when God whispers, he releases things you didn't even know you needed. He awakens hope. He calls forth strength. He speaks to the very root of your situation. Not the surface, but the hidden places. And everything can change with one word. I've seen hardened hearts soften in seconds. I've seen lifelong burdens lifted in a moment. I've seen people destined for destruction turn and walk in light, not because of a dramatic encounter, but because of a whisper they couldn't deny. One whisper can rewrite your story. So don't wait for fireworks, don't wait for lightning. Lay in. Make room for silence. Make room for stillness. Because the whisper is not just sound. It's a sign that he is near, that he sees you, that he loves you enough to speak directly to your spirit. And when he does, you'll know. You may not be able to explain it. You may not have the words. But your heart will say, he's here. And that is enough. One whisper can change everything. And it just might come today. I don't know who you are, but he does. And I promise you this, if you would get alone today, just you and that presence, and you would say, I'm here, I'm listening. You will hear, you will feel, you will know. There's nothing on this earth like it, and I wouldn't trade all the riches of this world for one moment in that presence. Stay with me a little longer. Don't rush away. Something holy is calling you, and oh, what a tragedy it would be to miss it.